Welcome to Believe in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Tasia Dash. Believe in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Believe in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Tasia Dash. So guys, for the first time in a few weeks, we actually have some new news on the team that we can actually talk about. The last few weeks you've sprinkled in Dr. J's list and other fun stuff like that. Wedding invitation analysis, stuff that Eric loves. But this week we actually have some new news to report on. How's everyone doing?
Good. Yourself? Somebody else get married that didn't get an invite?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
It did come up in the news that we're going to talk about, but yeah.
That's true. Part of Embiid's new tasks, as Ramona Shelburne put it. So we'll dive in with our first topic. So Ramona Shelburne of ESPN had a very lengthy report about Joel Embiid and the Sixers. The quote, he wants to come back in the best shape of his life. That is a goal that he has set. His mentality is he's going to give everything that he has to the Sixers this year. And if that includes trying to help smooth things over with Harden or taking on more of a leadership role, and we saw him inviting a lot of teammates to the wedding and lifting Maxey. She also went on to say Embiid has been in close communication with the Sixers front office and ownership about the plan for the future, and that includes the usage of future cap space, end quote. So how do you guys feel about Embiid taking on kind of new duties and new responsibilities as being the leader of this team? And what do you make of him being in close proximity and communication with the front office about the future?
What do you mean? What am I supposed to mean? I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't understand this question. Was he not the guy before? Like this is new.
That was part of my
he wasn't like one of the guys that wanted to lead the team.
Marcus and I talked about that yesterday. He's always kind of he hasn't been like the most I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
The part that I don't understand is like for a guy that's so vocal and so outgoing out with everything else, how can you not be vocal in the locker room?
Have you not played with guys like that before? Guys that kind of thrived off the crowd, but wasn't really like a leader type on the court.
I mean, I'm always one that believes leaders don't have to say they're leading. Just lead. Just keep it amongst your team and go do what you got to do. Like, announce it. I never really understood that.
You were always like a lead by example guy, right?
Well, I mean, I lead and it's things that you say. It's responsibilities you have to be a part of leading the locker room and leading practice and on the bus and when you get in the game and just doing your job and helping people out and putting people in their place. And that was my responsibility. But you can lead it. A lot of people didn't have the responsibilities that I had, but could still lead. Encouraging your teammates, supporting your teammates, being a good teammate in the locker room, and all of those different things that getting guys together. Whatever, someone needs help, you help them out. Like, there's different ways to do it. So I can't imagine that he just now taking that over, like, as if it hasn't been done before. Like, that's the part I'm trying to ask. Like, was he not doing this stuff? Or is it just he's just telling us he's doing this? Because if he has not been doing it, like I would say that's more of an issue than him starting to do it.
Some of the things you listed, I don't think he was doing before. I don't think he is like a. I wouldn't say he's not. Doesn't seem like a supportive. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not saying he doesn't seem like a supportive guy, but he's definitely not like a raw guy by any means. And it didn't look like he was always. I mean, you'd see him grab guys and talk to them, but Joel just wasn't always. He definitely wasn't like a let's go out for a team building thing. He's kind of like a more like, you know, I'd say loner type, but not really like a hang out and go party guy. It seems like more of James's thing actually than his. But maybe that's what it sounds like. He is doing those kind of things this year. But I think he should have been doing all this already, right? I'm not saying it should be mandatory for you to be mending fences between a disgruntled teammate and management. That shouldn't be his job.
With someone's contract, that's none of your business. That's between him and the team. Like you stay out of that.
Yes. Yeah. But she mentioned the whole James, like, you know, putting his arm around James, which is what I interpreted as like, you know, fixing or mending and saying, let's just do it this year. Try to like, you know, get him on board for this year type thing.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree that he should be doing that?
No, I agree that you state that I would love to have James back.
But that's it.
I would love to have James back. I want him to be a part of our team. What James has to do what's best for him.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah, and dividing teammates, you're right. I don't know. Some of the stuff he should have been doing, some of the stuff that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying that I felt he was, and he just kind of like said it as if he's just not doing it, or he's just not telling us. But I just can't imagine you got your MVP and such a dominant personality and dominant figure in the locker room that they're not getting anything from that.
But you did have guys that you played with that were more like performers and showmen with the crowd, but they didn't. I mean,
AI was like AI. Like it just depends on like how you looked at AI. Like, was he a leader as far as, you know, the intangibles of making sure the locker room isn't like, nah, it wasn't AI. But was he a leader as far as getting people to play hard and compete every night? Yes. He led the way with that. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it kind of depends on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm. AI definitely gave his body for the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So some people that matters more than all the rest of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go when it's time to go, man? That's what some people. That's all they. I'm looking at that. All the other stuff is minimal to some people. To a guy like Larry Brown, it wasn't. It was very important, very crucial. All the little things, the intangibles, and doing things the right way, like all that stuff was very, very important to him. I don't know. Nowadays, I mean, I just think you have a guy like Joel that. Do I think he needs to be the guy that's doing everything? No, but I think he needs to have a presence in that locker room that people can come in and say that blueprint has been laid down by the foundation that he's established and be able to follow it as a guy and it be helpful to him and the team.
Yeah. Also, it's like, I don't think any of this shit would matter. We'd be talking about this if we just beat the Celtics, right? Like,
I mean, when people think winning solves everything, winning just, you know,
numbs it.
It. Yes, you know that's what it does.
It's like Advil.
You know how you got that bill that's coming, and you think if you put it at the bottom of the mail that it's gonna go away.
Going away. Yeah,
it's still there, buddy.
Yeah. Or it's like taking Advil for anything. It's like it didn't solve your headache. You still didn't drink enough water today, for instance. You know, like but it's gone. You don't feel pain anymore. Sure. Like, I just think it's funny how things work in general. Like, if we had beaten Celtics, let's say hypothetical, if we had beaten the Celtics, if we had beaten the Heat, and we lost in the finals, let's say, all these things would still be like relevant, right, and important. If he's not doing these things, then he should be doing these things. But if we win those 2 series, no one's talking about his to-do list for the offseason, right? It just, I
think they may talk about it, but what they talk about, I think would be different. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
What they talk about. He's
it also would depend on.
Yeah, he's when he's going to start back his workout. It would be a different conversation.
Yes.
Because of what they've done, they would have played a month longer or so, if that was the case. So then you would still have some of these things. You would still have a James issue. You still have a Maxey issue.
Doc would probably still be here though.
Well, we don't know.
If we went to the finals, you don't think so?
No, we don't know.
Yeah.
Based on the way you and the rest of some of these other Philly fans felt, I don't think it mattered.
I think you would have gotten one more year.
I'm just saying that we didn't win it. They're going to blame somebody, no matter how far we went.
Yeah.
And like we always say, we always talk about it, it depends on how we lost.
Yes, that's also true too. Like if we got swept in the finals, we still made it there. Yeah. But that's a good example too. Like Jokic might not do everything perfect, but like he might not be hanging out with his teammates all the time, but they won. Like no one's going to be saying Jokic needs to be more of a leader in the locker room and hang out with all of his guys and go party with them and be one.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand what they're searching for. Like I think from what I was told and from what I've seen, that they had a close group that wasn't disconnected. You're never really gonna have teammates where everybody does the same thing all the time. Like it's not realistic.
A lot of personalities.
So I thought they had a close from what I could see.
It looked pretty good.
And from what I was told, it wasn't really disjointed. Now, the only thing I can go, if I want to be more on the negative side, if I can pull a Tasia,
let's hear it. I'm getting excited.
You can look from the standpoint to say that maybe he could have been, a little selfish, a little more about himself.
Yes. Definitely in Game 6 and Game 7. I want a little more fire from him, if anything.
No, I'm saying, in order for him not having all of this stuff that he's talking about, we're talking about that, not necessarily in the game. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
He could have been a little too selfish with all the other stuff outside of playing. So that's what makes a guy say, oh, I need to do this or do more, because in the past it was really just about you.
Okay. I see.
Now I'm not assuming that was him, but I'm just saying usually if a guy now this late in the game in his career and he's had so much success there that now decides to do this, it could lead people to think that previously it was all about him.
I wanted an MVP. I finally got it. Now it's the team.
I'm being a negative Tasia person.
It could be. Yeah, no, that's why I know exactly what you're talking about, because that's my language. That's my language right there. I think it could definitely be that. Like he's kind of in his own way saying, "I got my MVP. Now it's time to we have to win," which means all the other times in the past where he said it's all about winning, it's all about winning. Maybe it wasn't all the way about winning. Maybe it was half about MVP. Speculating, negative. But yeah, I do like that he's on board and communicating with ownership and Morey about future cap space and that kind of stuff in the plan. Having him on the same page, in my mind, is very important. It's very important for future free agents that might want to come here. I do like that. I like knowing that Morey's not going to make any moves based on like fear. He knows Joel will have, has his backing on this, and that's important to me. I like knowing that. Because we are tearing it down, right? It is going to be probably Maxey and Joel and no one else under contract next year, so they better be on board. You're one of 2 guys under contract next year. I mean, if Paul Reed, maybe, but other than that, that's it, most likely.
Yeah, it's a good thing, dude. It's a good thing as far as fans who were scared that Embiid's going to ask out. I mean, if he's the one kind of working with the Morey and the guys on
it's quite the opposite
future plans. Yeah.
But we have seen guys say this and then a year or 2 later be like, that's it, I'm out of here. So, it's good for this year and like the next 2 years, I think.
Mm-hmm. But one other report that she mentioned in there is that he wants to come back in the best shape of his life. If you look at some of the wedding photos and the videos at his wedding, he looks trimmer.
He was getting in wedding shape.
But maybe that's going to carry over to the season. I mean, do you think that's something that he needed to get in better shape going into the year? I mean, I know that has nothing to do with the injuries per se, but I mean, do you think that's something that needed to be done and needed to be addressed? Because in years past, that's been a complaint from some.
He should have been in great shape already.
I mean, I think that more than anything, I think that in shape, people think more endurance. I'm just saying in shape to play the majority of the games and try to be the best fit and the best fit that you can be in to try to stay healthy for a run.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah. Long-term fitness, season-long fitness.
Yeah.
Game restriction also. Missing games this year.
We'll see. Maybe he wants to go for a back-to-back MVP. I mean, as long as he hits that threshold, what was it, 66 or 67 games? As long as he hits that threshold, I think we're good.
That should not be a goal, but yeah.
No, not at this point. So one of the other reports that came out this week and also kind of tied to Embiid. Embiid's excited about Maxey becoming more of a focal point in the offense, kind of having more of a major role. And in that report, like a separate report, they're saying the Sixers want Maxey to take a step forward with the major role, whether James is there or not this coming season. So obviously we know he definitely have a major role if Harden's not there this season. But my question to you guys is it really a possibility for Maxey to have this major step forward if Harden is in a Sixers uniform next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think he can. I think he can. It's just a matter of how he's going to be used. So I can see him increasing in his productivity and James decreasing his. I can see that. I just don't see a world where they both increase their productivity. I just don't see how James can be a 22 point scorer, 11 assists. Just can't see that if we're saying Maxey's the way that Maxey's going. I mean, he was already at what, 21, 22? He's trying to be 23, 24, 25 point scorer. Yeah. Well, the way that Maxey can change is to be more of a playmaker just as much as he is a scorer. So if he can increase his assists, try to knock down his turnovers, then he can, produce a little more. But if we're saying we need him to continue to score the way he was scoring and increase that and increase his playmaking and assists, then James is going to be more of an off the ball guy. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying it's going to be almost impossible for both of them to take those steps. So you're basically saying James is going to be more of a off the ball guy. And if that's the case, I don't know. Maybe James already know that that's sort of how he's being viewed. Maybe that has something to do with out. Yeah, maybe that has something to do with his request. I don't know. But I just don't see how Maxey can take that big of a leap without James sort of taking, the distance between your second and third option just gets bigger. And we still have Joel. You know what I'm saying? Who's the number one option. So we're not even talking about the number one option.
Yeah. I think the only way it could be possible is if either Nurse drastically changes the way our offense moves the ball, which will mean less stagnation and less kind of ball handling for like half the shot clock. Or if James was just a lot more passive. But I think in either of those scenarios, it would probably lead to a disconnected or uninvolved James, which could lead to problems. So do you think James would happily, let's say he does show up. Let's say he comes and he's like, all right, I'll play it out so you can get rid of me. You think James would happily take a lesser role on this offense that he has right now?
No, I think
what you were just describing.
I think if James is committed to come back, I think that he will accept the role. I don't think he would be excited for it.
Okay. Yeah, that would be the big thing for me.
Because then that all comes back to a year ago, and he takes less money, and now you're asking him to do less, which gives you basically every leverage that you have to continue to pay him less.
Yeah. Yep. Which, who knows, maybe was in the discussions for whatever short-term contract they discussed. Like, dude, we want Maxey to be, like, taking on more. We want you to be doing less. And if you're doing less, we don't want to pay you $50 million a year. I don't know. Again, we're speculating on that, but it could happen. I mean, if that is the case, it sounds like it could open up more for our offense. But again, there's only so many shots you can take with one ball with all these guys on your team. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, especially when you have fans who are clamoring for Tobias to average 20 points a game with his 6 shot attempts per game.
You got fans and you have a brother.
Yeah,
I do not expect Tobias to have 20 points a game. It'd be nice.
Based on his salary, that's what he's supposed to be.
Well, that's different. That is different, isn't it? His salary is his salary, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, it's interesting if because we talk about Harden being, if he's going to be unhappy with his role if Maxey takes a step forward. I mean, all points to indications.
We didn't say that.
Are potentially, well, not unhappy, but
see, you putting words out there. We didn't say that. You didn't say he would be unhappy.
He potentially could be.
Potentially could be unhappy with the role.
We didn't potentially say he would be unhappy either. We didn't.
There's a chance he could be from it.
That's how stuff gets spread, man. You start saying that stuff, man. You got to be careful with that.
Oh yeah, people. That's a headline.
In order for Maxey to take off like they're saying, James would have to take a step back.
Okay, and with that,
and with him doing that, that's not basically setting him up to get his salary based on what he's done before and based on him already taking less.
But that could lead. What you
I didn't say unhappy. He could be happy and still do that.
What
we don't know. But I didn't say unhappy. You said unhappy. I did not say that. What you just
described would not make James a happy guy.
No.
Okay.
James is already unhappy.
That's true.
So what I described is it's already been established that he's unhappy. And he had an awesome year this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So don't put that on me.
Well, that's the difference, right? Like his output deserves more, but what they want from him is less. So they're like, well, we have a difference of what we want you to do going forward. We don't want you to have the ball in your hands 20 seconds of a shot clock anymore. Like, so it's interesting. It really is interesting.
I mean, but who says who though?
For which one?
Same GM, the same style of play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, he said he had a good productive talks with Nurse, so they obviously are on the same page with what they wanted the offense. So it's like,
but that was before he opted in to ask for out. That was a couple days before that.
No, you're right. But like we said a minute ago, we said he might already potentially know he's going to get the ball a little less and Maxey's going to take on more. But that report was that he liked what Nurse had to say about the offense.
Unless that was different than unless they were buttering him up for something else and then he opted in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it was probably, yeah, I'm okay with that. You're still going to pay me the money you said you'd pay me, right? And they're like,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can like all that conversation but did James say it or did a report say it?
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it was a report. So James could be like, I never said
it. Or the nurse's side say it.
Or that's what I said in May.
That's what I found. That's what I liked it when I thought I was making it a starting salary of $44 million.
Yes, when I thought I was going to get X amount of dollars, it sounded great.
Yeah, I was okay with it.
Now it doesn't sound good.
No, no, not for 35. For 35, it doesn't sound good. Yeah, for 44 starting, it sounds good.
Yeah, because I remember when that report came out. It was interesting timing because it was like 2 or 3 days before the report of Harden opting in and bouncing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I guess we'll see. So last topic tonight. So I think by the time our next show airs, the schedule might be out by that point. There's no date that's supposed to drop. I think I read online. It's anywhere from like August 16th to like August 22nd. The schedule could be dropped or released. Last year we had a slew of primetime games. But this year, I'm curious as to see what do you guys think is going to happen with our schedule this year? Do you think with the unknowns within our roster this year, do you think we could kind of get screwed out of primetime games this year, nationally televised games? What do you guys think about that?
You had the MVP. You'll get primetime games. Because one is, I mean, you got to think in the East. You know, just the East alone, you're going to have, even with Miami going to the finals, unless they get Dame Lillard. They may have fewer primetime games than Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly. A team that's going to get some more this year to start is the Spurs.
Yeah, that's true.
New Orleans will, if Zion plays.
Yep.
They'll knock somebody off. But as you can see from the first day, it's going to be West Coast heavy. So it's easy to kind of see who our primetime games are going to be against. You have that package of West Coast teams. You have the package of East Coast teams. So you can bet that the majority of those games will be a little mid to later in the season when football's over. And you'll get a few matchups early in the season. But I think ultimately it's hard to kind of distinguish and pick this year because of this in-season tournament.
Ooh, yeah, true.
In-season tournament is going to kind of dictate your Tuesday, Friday schedule. So you're only going to play teams that are in your bracket or in your pool. So that's 5 or 6 games right there.
That's true.
And not all of those games are going to be on television. So I think until that's over, you get to Christmas, it could be a couple. But I think as the season picks up, they'll have us on there a good amount. I think we'll get our maximum or close to our maximum of national televised games.
I looked it up, according to this article at NBA.com. We have 34 national television games last year. You think we get 34 this year?
Yes.
Really? Oh, wow.
Still got an MVP, man, and you played well, and we were, one of the top 8 teams to finish. I mean, why would you not?
Because the uncertainty with Harden?
I don't know. I mean, you still have your 2 leading scorers. You either getting Harden back or you getting something for him. And if you don't, sometimes all the other mess sells too.
That's true. You could look at it that way. That's a good point. People want to see how mad Harden is on the bench with his little furry coat. That's true.
That's you adding all that.
I took what you said. I kind of just I brought my little furry coat side to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
do act like you weren't tuning into Ben Simmons Nets games, looking for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think that Yeah, so you got a game like that, like the Nets. That game will probably be national televised against
One
Philly.
of them, yeah, for sure.
You got Boston, you got Miami, you have
Denver.
Denver will, Lakers will, Suns will, Warriors will.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Knicks.
Spurs will.
Knicks
will. You know what I'm saying? So I we'll be up there. I think we get either get the max national televised games or very close.
I'm going to say 25.
And we had 34 last year?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
No? Okay. You're right, though. You are a good point. I think Miami's in much higher probability of losing a lot more games if they don't because they're going to get Lillard.
Yes.
But yeah, because they're like, if
they get Dame Lillard, they max out.
Oh,
they'll max out easily.
Yeah. But if not, you're right. I think they'll get screwed. I think,
they'll have some games, but I think it'll be more of who they're playing.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. It's true. Marcus, you have a guess? 34 last year.
I'm with Eric. I don't think much is going to change. Kind of like the conversation we had the other day. You seem to be tying our national televised games to the Harden being here, or not more so than having the MVP, which is, I think that's interesting. That
our MVP might miss 20 games this year. So
but you're not going into the season. They're not going into the season assuming that he's like that. It's not like he had Zion season where he didn't play, he missed the whole season. He was the MVP.
Yeah. And
what I'm saying is he's the MVP in Philly. Philly has a great following. They have one of the best followings in the league.
And he's getting to the best shape of his life, Eric.
See?
Hey, that's not my words.
But that had nothing to do with what we were talking about.
That's Ramon Shelford's words. I'm just saying,
starting stuff, man. That had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Nothing.
He'll play a lot of games, is all I'm saying. He won't miss that much. I was wrong before. He won't miss that many. He won't miss 20 games because
I guess.
Best shape of his life. He's going to play a lot. They should keep that in consideration. Maybe that report came out because of schedule making. Embiid's going to play all season, huh? Okay, we'll put him in more. Let's give him more national games.
Yeah, but the thing is, I agree with Eric. I don't think they're going to factor that in. Embiid could miss 20 games. I mean, Embiid, that's been a thing for the last few years, and they still had a lot of televised games last year, and he got a lot of flack for not playing in some of those games. Those national
sure,
games.
but a lot of people are calling this a punt season, and NBA doesn't want to bank on a punt season for a team. That's not what they want to do. If we get back Marcus Morris and Nicholas Batum, that's not sexy.
But even with this punt season, the Sixers will be a top 4 seed in the East. So it's a punt season for us. Yeah.
Batum, Covington, and Terrence Mann for James Harden, and you think easily will be a top 3 seed in the East?
Yeah.
What about you? Let's do that right now, Eric.
We're always just making up some on the fly with
because he's ready to say with or without Harden, we're a top 3 seed in the East. I don't think so.
I can't say we a lock. But we could potentially do it with Maxey and Joel. You can be that guy. You can be that team. Miami did it with Les.
True.
They didn't have a Joel, and they were a number 1 seed.
But we had the number 1.
I think you can. They had guys that are all-star players. But so I think yes, it's very possible. I don't think it's a lock. I don't think you can stamp them as a lock.
With 2 weeks left in the season last year, we had Cleveland breathing down our neck for the number 3 seed. That was with Harden and an MVP Joel.
No, I'm just saying, I just don't think you can go into the season and it'd be a lot because I just think that 1 through 6, the East is closer than people think. And then Miami wasn't top 6 last year. You got to remember that.
Closer next year.
Yeah.
They wasn't top 6 last year. They were 8th seed, right?
Who?
Miami.
Yeah.
They're 8th seed. So I think it's just hard to just say a team is going to be a lot for a top 3 when we've seen, Philly you can say has been the consistent top 4.
We have lost guys.
I'm just saying the last maybe 5 years, that the most consistent up top has been Milwaukee and Boston.
Boston, yeah.
So, I mean, if we're saying someone's a lock, they're probably the bigger locks for a seed that high.
Yeah. I'd say Milwaukee for sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying as far as a lock, as far as if I had to choose a team that I felt was closer to being a lock for top 3 teams, those two teams have shown it more than the other teams consistently year after year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I said 3.
You're going to say something, Marcus.
I said 3 or 4 seed. You locked me in, me saying the 3 seed. I said top
I didn't hear 4. I heard 3.
4 or 3. And secondly, the year.
What did he say, Eric? He said 3 or 4.
I heard you. I didn't hear him. You just took it over.
Get out of here. He said 3, and you know it. Come on.
And secondly, the year that Simmons sat out, we didn't have Harden or Simmons when it was the Maxey and Embiid show. When Maxey was a young buck at the time, we were a top 3 seed, and now Maxey.
James did come that year though.
Yeah, but we were still in like the top 3 contention before that trade, which that's why that trade made seemed such a big sexy thing when we got Harden. They were like, oh man, we've been doing this well without a Harden. Now you add him to the mix.
Yeah, it's Seth Curry averaging like 18 a game before he left too.
He's stepping up, yeah. And Tobias was doing his thing. Your boy,
yeah, with all that money too.
I just think that us being a top 3 or 4 seed, I think that's enough to get us in, even with those guys you mentioned. And anything, I think it gives us good depth too. It adds to our depth.
Well, adding the extra seed it is different. 3 or 4 is different than just saying 3.
The top half of the East, we're locked at the top. We're locked at the top half.
That's the difference. The extra seed really matters.
4 in the NBA is like the 8 and 9 in March Madness.
4, you go from a 3, like I don't know, to the 4, like as an expectation. It's like totally different. Like you talking about are you talking about we won't have home court in the first round? Is that what you're saying? Like that's different.
Yeah.
Floor 4 seed, ceiling 3 seed.
Whoa, okay.
So that's right
nice. There. Yeah, I'll take that. That's nice.
Yeah. So what you said 25 was your answer? Yeah, you think 25?
I'll say 25.
National televised games. All right.
You guys are going right at 34 again? Going chalk?
I'm going closer to 34.
Yeah. Right. Same.
30s. You guys are saying 30s.
Yeah, I said either the max or as close as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that still doesn't make any sense to me. The fact that you're giving more credit to Harden than you are the MVP, which is interesting.
Oh, speaking of putting words in people's mouths, I'm giving credit as well.
Well, that's kind of what it is. That's what you said to me last night when we talked about.
So they're gonna drop 10 national televised games because of the Harden situation.
That would mean they're banking on us getting screwed in that deal. That's what that means.
No, they're banking on Harden not being there, and that's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, but if you were to tell me we got Zach LaVine instead of Harden, our national games should not be affected at all, right? Like, that's just as much of a fun watch as it is with Harden, maybe even more in some degree. But if you're telling me we get back Mann, Batum, and Covington, yeah, there's a difference there.
You still have the MVP to fall back on, though.
True, you do.
So I'm just saying. So let me. So Denver has Jokic and Murray.
Yeah.
Them losing players, you think they're gonna get any fewer games, or is it because they won?
Yeah, Bruce Brown being gone, they're gonna lose 10 games.
Bruce Brown is not equivalent to James Harden, though. Come on, that's not fair.
I'm just saying, like they have their best 2 players.
But Harden was our second best player last year, though. No.
Well, according to you and everything that's been reported on people stepping up, that's going to change.
But based right now, though, our 2 best players coming from last season were Embiid and Harden, right?
Well, obviously, not everybody feel that way because the guy wouldn't be asking for a trade because of the salary.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. They just don't see it as $45 million good. They see it more as like $35 million good.
Do you think we get a Christmas game?
Maxey's going to get his max.
Yeah.
Starting point or end point? Starting or end?
Whatever his max is, he's going to get it.
The most amount.
The most that he can get, he's going to get.
No matter how he plays this year.
Assuming he plays the way that we're expecting him to play.
Okay.
That's what you got to always assume he's going to play like that.
If he averages 25, 26 a game this year and like 5 or 6 assists, yeah, he can get whatever the hell he wants. I mean, yeah.
I'm just saying, if he plays the way he played last year, if he shows the same progression that he's shown the last couple years.
He's so efficient, though. I mean, can he sustain that? He's got to take a dip somewhere. He can't be averaging 44%
if he shows the same progression with more volume, because more volume is coming.
Yes.
If James isn't here.
Apparently, it's coming either way.
So if that volume is coming and that progression is still there, yeah, he's going to get the most he can get.
Do you think, this is, again, pure speculation, do you think management kind of wants Harden to also be, or not only because it makes us a better team, yeah, but also it does bring Maxey's stats down on a contract year?
I mean, I think it's some logic into that. I can't see them overthinking or thinking like that. Like, I would hope that that's not how they're thinking, because I would think that the priority would be put our team in the best position to win a championship.
Which is also with Harden for one more year, right? It's not like they're losing.
Yeah, but that. I don't think that it'll keep his stats down, because at the rate that Maxey's already going, and you look at all the other guys that are around his age that are just signing deals, you already know what you're looking at paying them.
Yeah.
You look at Bane, for instance. You look at his deal. You already know that's the area. That's the range.
But there's a big difference between Poole's deal and Bane's deal, though.
But I'm telling you. So that's why I told a lot of people. I told a lot of people that were all on Poole, and when all that stuff went down, I was like, Poole's deal is a team-friendly deal. And they were like, you crazy. Now look.
Mm-hmm.
Poole and Hero.
Yes. We're about talking about their deals. Now I said, now look. Yeah. The kid from Indiana and Bane get doubled their contract.
Wild.
I know. So, crazy.
So
give me Maxey in between those numbers.
Man, come on. Listen to what I'm telling you. And doing what he's been doing in the same progression, Bane is the minimum. There's
minimum.
With Rich's agent, man, get the heck out of here, man. No way he's going under that.
Okay.
Last thing before we get out of here, Christmas Day game. Will we have a Christmas Day game with or without Harden?
Nah.
What? Will we have a Christmas Day game?
Yeah.
Somebody actually sent me the Christmas Day schedule.
Does it already come out?
I didn't say it came out.
Ooh.
We're breaking it. Spicy.
Yeah, I didn't say it came out. I just said somebody already sent me a schedule.
Do you see the 76ers on there?
We have a really good chance of playing.
Ooh, I love this.
We have a really good chance of being on Christmas Day.
So Taja's wrong already. I love it.
We will be on Christmas Day.
Wow.
From what I was told. I was told who we're going to play, when we're going to play, but, I'll let that kind of hit.
Is it a home game? Is it a home game?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it's a good place to be for Christmas.
Oh, it's MSG again, isn't it?
Huh?
It's Madison Square Garden again, isn't it?
Just saying, it's a good place to be for Christmas. I'll leave it at that, man.
All right.
All right. Well, there you go. We got.
There's some good news right there.
That's breaking news right there. All right, guys. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll see you guys next week, and hopefully we can discuss the all these primetime games we're gonna get. And Tasia can be wrong again for the millionth time.
Well, hey, this guy's got insider information. That's not fair.
Hey, man, that's what I was told. Someone told me that. We'll see if it's true.
You got good info, though. I don't have any info over here. I'm flying
if,
blind.
If it's right, then Eric's got amazing sources.
If it's right, I'll let you know it was right. Next show, if it schedule comes out, if it was right, I'll let you know.
All right.
All right.
We'll hold you to that. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a good weekend.
Take it easy, guys.